here, and I think I'm live in both places now. So, welcome. Good evening. Good evening, family. You'll see me looking at two cameras as I'm addressing my YouTube audience as well as my Facebook audience. It is another beautiful day to be alive. It is a Tuesday. This is your sister Erica, just doing a check in this evening. Want to ask you how you're doing, family. How are you feeling? Right? My general question is, how is your head? How is your heart today? I am going to talk a little bit about just a couple steps that you might consider when dealing with change. And change has been the word for me since the 15th. Started a new position, it's a full time position out of the house. I already posted a video saying that I don't know who came up with being out of the house and being awake for 9 whole hours, 5 days a week, but I give it 3 stars. I give it 3 stars. Woo, it's a struggle when you've really been used to managing your time in your own way and then having to go ahead and start to change that and to change your schedule can be really difficult. So that's one area of change. And as if that is not enough to deal with, my apartment complex is also going through some renovations. And so today was our turn for these renovations to start. And so I left the house this morning with it looking one way, and I came home to a number of things looking quite different. We also had to, we being me and my love, had to pull everything that we have out of every cabinet, every drawer in the house. So everything out of the drawers and the cabinets, off the counter in the kitchen, everything out of the drawers, out the cabinets, off the counter in the bathroom. And while it's not super major changes going on, I've been through a few of those in life as well, especially when it comes to dealing with health issues. It's still a lot right now. It's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people, and I'll only speak for myself. It's just a lot for me right now to deal with these changes. Okay. Some days I've done well with it. I had a whole pre tantrum. It wasn't really a tantrum, but I did have like pre anxiety before the renovations even started. So when we received the letter, I believe it was last Friday, stating that renovations would start on Tuesday, I noticed that I was starting to feel some anxiety, some overwhelm, even just with anticipating the amount of work, the amount of disarray that we would need to live through. And it's only 5 days, y'all. 5 whopping days. One day is done, right? So only 4 days to go. But I figured that I would spend this time today, since I was not with you last week, to share 4 tips. I'm going to share 4 tips. I like threes and fours. Sometimes I'll go a little bit higher than that. But I'll share 4 simple tips to remain calm during change. So, change is one of those things that we don't have control over. Change doesn't always announce itself with a letter saying that your renovation is going to start on Tuesday. Sometimes you get a knock on the door or you get a whack upside your head to say, hey, renovations are starting. And that might be actual renovations, right? As in my apartment, but sometimes as mental renovations. Sometimes that might be something that feels like a physical renovation, a spiritual renovation. Hey, Miss Shania, happy belated birthday, beautiful. So there are ways that you can think through how to manage the one thing you can control, which is how you respond, how you react to the changes that are happening around you and the changes that might be happening within you. So, I won't keep you long, but let's jump right into 4 steps to remain calm during change. All right, so the first step is just to acknowledge your feelings. A lot of these steps are not going to be things that I haven't said before. They're probably not even things that you don't already know, but acknowledge your feelings. I really had to find the words, right, to be able to acknowledge, particularly to my husband, because he shares the most space and time with me, that I'm not upset, I'm not angry, but I was feeling some anxiety. I was feeling even a panic attack coming on, just really thinking about just things being out of place, right? As particularly as feel that I'm trying to get a routine together, would get myself up and out of the prepared and out of the house in a timely fashion during the mornings. And so acknowledge your feelings, okay? There is something called a feeling wheel that you can potentially use if you have a really difficult time trying to identify how you feel in the moment, right? Very often we go from the true hidden difficult feeling to anger really fast. We jump to anger really fast. We can usually acknowledge and identify when we're angry, but it's really harder to identify those more vulnerable feelings, the ones that tend to remain under the surface. And so for me, I was feeling anxious. For me, I was feeling displaced before it even happened, right? We weren't asked to leave our apartment at all, but just the fact that things had to be pulled out and moved all over the place, right? There were some feelings of feeling a little violated, right? There would be strangers in my space for 5 days, while I'm not home and while my husband is not home. And it's okay to know that, yeah, to a certain extent, these are supposed to be professionals. It likely will be fine. I got like two and a half things that actually might be worth something in here. But because it's my stuff and my space, I felt some kind of way about knowing that people would be here. And when you acknowledge those feelings, the acknowledgement is that it's not about whether or not it's right or wrong. It's not about whether or not it's good or bad. They are your feelings, and it's okay to own those feelings and to accept them for what they are. It is normal to feel overwhelmed, and it's normal to feel anxious when you're facing change, right? No matter whether it's a small change or something that's a large change, but you are really the one who gets to define whether it's a big change or a small change. Okay. We all weather it a little bit different. And it's not about right or wrong or good or bad. Don't want you to push those feelings away, right? You shouldn't feel that way. You sometimes your significant others or people around you might try to talk you out of feeling the way that you feel. I'm not saying to stay there. I'm not saying to wallow in that. I'm not saying to feed those feelings, especially if they're leading you to have misbehaviors or to choose bad, to make bad decisions. But I do want you to be okay with acknowledging them, recognizing them, even naming them. If you can say them out loud as well, really helps you to be able to own your feelings, okay? And allow yourself to feel what you feel. That leads me into my second step. And I have said this many times: breathe, take a deep breath. In particular, take a 6-second pause. Now, I've mentioned that in a previous video, and I will link that on YouTube for you to be able to go back and find it. I could also add that to the comments in Facebook. I love you too, Sister Lucia, Sister Bradshaw. I take a deep breath. Always remember to breathe. Okay, when those feelings are starting to come up, you're starting to have a physiological reaction. Your feelings don't only happen in your mind, they also cascade throughout your body. And if you don't catch it, if you don't create a pause, if you don't take a second to breathe and redirect your thoughts to something a little bit more mechanical, then you get this kind of cascading effect that happens with our emotions, and it moves throughout the body, right? And if you've ever had that happen to you, you can probably recognize it and and remember how it feels as those feelings, those emotions, those hormones are rushing through your body. So when you're faced with overwhelming feelings, take those moments to take some deep breaths, however that is for you. Okay, that might be meditative deep breaths. It might be inhaling at a count and then exhaling at another count. It may be doing the 6-second pause and doing six word problems or six math problems or trying to work something out so that you're engaging the thinking part and the decision making part of your brain. And it gives your body a chance to relax, right? And to bring yourself back into the present moment, because a lot of those feelings are not really so much about what's happened presently. A lot of the negative and the difficult feelings really come up with the fear and concern about what is going to happen in the future, how this is going to affect you, how are you going to be able to bounce back, that type of thing. The third step that you can take is to get organized. So when you're dealing with change, right, it can be very overwhelming. It can be difficult because you can't anticipate all the time what's going to happen or how things are going to happen. And I like the metaphor of renovation, going through a physical renovation as a metaphor for going through other types of renovations, because oftentimes, if you ever watch any HGTV, then they always warn you that you can run into roadblocks when you're doing a renovation, right? You lay out the best set plan that you have, but you don't always have control over people being where they're supposed to be, the weather being what it's supposed to be, the resources being available, or any number of things that can get a plan off track. So you get as organized as you possibly can. Try to break down whatever tasks you need to do in small and manageable steps. Write down what needs to be done, prioritize the order that those things need to be done, and just set some realistic goals for yourself. So again, I like to have practical examples. So even in my like mini renovation that's going on in my apartment, I really took some time as I was getting ready in the morning yesterday to think about what are the things I grab every day? What are the things I touch every morning? What are some of the things that I only touch every now and then? And so as I was grabbing things that I touch every morning, I was setting it aside into its own bin. So then that way, when I came into the bathroom the next morning, when everything had been cleared from its normal place, I would be able to reach for it and find it easily. Right? That is an example of getting organized. Sometimes it may be something that's a little bit more abstract. As I'm thinking about other goals that I'm working through, it's really good to be able to write down just a list of everything that needs to be done. You don't have to prioritize it initially. Just everything that you can think of that needs to be completed. And then as you get as many things down, you can go back and then start to assign some priority, right? What needs to happen first? What needs to happen second? What needs to happen third? And then please show yourself some grace. All right. You may not be able to reach the same goals in the same amount of time as you're able to do when things are calm, right? When things are kind of all over the place, when the crap has hit the fan and it is just blowing everywhere, I really want you to be kind to yourself, right? And setting some realistic, some simple goals for you to stay on track, and also to start to feel like you're regathering some control, right, over your situation, over what's happening around you. And then for the fourth step, right, we are a community. Reach out for support so often. And I don't know if this is just an Erica thing. I don't know if this is just a woman thing. I don't know if it's just a Black woman thing. But so often we think we need to manage these changes by ourselves. And I'm telling you, many people have, and there may have been times even in your life that you did some things alone, but you don't have to do. it alone. Reach out for support. So don't be afraid to ask for help during your times of change. Talking to people that you care about, talking to others about your experiences can really incredibly help you feel more connected and less alone. It's amazing how alone you might feel when those feelings are coming up, right, about a change, particularly if you feel, right, or if you, even if you're being told that you're not managing the change well, okay, or other people are in their attempt to help you, are trying to help to redirect your thoughts and redirect you, and and have you look on the bright side and think about the things you need to be grateful for. Yes, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. Yes, do that. And acknowledge your feelings, that first step. Take a deep breath so that you can calm yourself. That's the second step. Get organized, write some lists, prioritize, and set realistic goals. That's your third step. And then in that fourth step, make sure you are reaching out for support. So as you're going through those changes, you don't feel alone and you feel more connected, right? So this was a really short and sweet one because I'm still dealing with some of my own emotions and feelings today. uh, yeah, uh, they put in these great LED lights, which I guess is all the rage for right now. But I feel like we can land a small plane up in this bad boy because these things are bright, like unnecessarily bright. I tend to like soft lighting. I tend to like more ambient type of lighting and not necessarily the super bright from ahead lighting that makes you feel like you can see like every pore. I think I can see every thought that I've ever had under these lights. If take this moment, if you found these four steps to at least be somewhat helpful, to hit the like button, to subscribe, to comment, to share. It's really the best way that you can help support me, to support my channel, to support my social media posts. Again, it's Erica Jefferson Rivers with your Tuesday check in, your sister Erica, saying that my prayers are with you if you are experiencing some change. And I ask that your prayers be with me. One day down out of 5 days to go, I pray that they can get it all done early, timely, with this little fuss, with this little mess as possible. If I can be of assistance to you, if I can connect with you, if I can be of support to you as you're going through any changes that you might be experiencing, please go ahead and put your name in the comments. You can send me a message on Facebook at Erica Jefferson Rivers. You can put it in comments here on YouTube under your sister Erica. I'm also available on Instagram at Erica Jefferson Rivers, Erika Jefferson Rivers. I'd be more than happy to pray with you, be more than happy to put your name on a prayer list, or even just to have a conversation or maybe listen as you're going through your change. Okay. I'm here for you, family. I love you. And until next time, make it a magnificent week. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.